I know that there are various models that try to model thinking and consciousness via the metaphysics. Is that something you're just trying not to do, or is it just more like you're open to it, but you haven't found the thing that makes sense to you yet?
Um, it's something I guess I'm trying not to do because, I mean, I'm open to the idea that consciousness is distributed, is coextensive with matter in a kind of a panpsychist sense, that anything that can take in information is to some very minimal degree conscious. But most of the time when I think about consciousness, I tend to localize that discussion around creatures like us. And creatures like us seem to be machinery. There's an analogy to machinery there. Like there's this biological complex system that is self-regulating and it develops higher capacities, and those end up turning into, I guess, the kind of consciousness that we really identify with, which is self-consciousness, self-referential consciousness. And so and that's the thing as well, is I think that like the more complex the structure that your modeling gets, and consciousness I think is the most complex structure that we have ever encountered, the less it makes sense to lean heavily on the metaphysical foundation in terms of providing an explanation. You want it obviously to be consistent. And so I would think of it like this interaction of data and logic permits these higher shades of complexity and subtlety. And all of that is consistent with the formulation of it as data and logic. But there's a certain level of complexity where it is similarly with the special sciences. Like it seems to me that chemistry is an extension of physics and derivative of the physical mechanics of matter and motion. But it also seems to me that at a certain point, you can't talk informatively about what's going on in a chemical reaction just by talking about physics. There's a new domain. You have to construct new principles to summarize what's going on. And I think that the higher up that scale you go, from physics to chemistry to biology to physiology and neurology and psychology and so on, the further up that scale you climb, the more and more it makes sense to talk about it in terms of things that are equally complicated